Imagine buying the Eiffel Tower. No, not a souvenir. The Eiffel Tower itself, like scrap metal. Sounds like a joke, right? What if I told you someone actually did it? Get ready because today I'm taking you deep into one of the most audacious, ingenious, and incredible scams in history. A deception so brazen it still leaves you speechless today. We'll talk about how the icon of Paris, the iron magnificence we all know, was sold not once but twice. And the mastermind behind this madness wasn't some mad visionary, but a certain Victor Lustig, the ultimate con artist. A man capable of selling even clouds if he'd found a good buyer. Fasten your seatbelts because today's story is stranger and funnier than any movie you could
At
imagine.
this time, I'm going to.
It was 1925, my friends. Paris, the city of lights, was pulsating with life, art, fashion, and an indescribable energy after the Great War. People were dancing the Charleston, jazz was thumping in nightclubs, and the prospects seemed endless. But while the world marveled at the rebirth of the City of Light, a man with a foxy gaze and a disarming smile was hatching a plan. Not a plan to make his fortune legally, mind you. His goal was a big score, something so brazen it defied imagination. Victor Lustig, the Count, the Baron, the man of 1,000 identities and empty pockets but a brilliant mind, had set his sights on a target that would have made anyone's wrists tremble: the Eiffel Tower. Not to buy it, obviously, but to sell it. Yes, you read that right, sell it. And not to an art collector or a dreamy tycoon, but to a simple, unsuspecting scrap dealer. The goal was to sell the very symbol of Paris like a pile of scrap metal. Crazy, huh? Lustig was a master of disguise and persuasion. He certainly didn't present himself as the conman Victor Lustig. Oh no, he donned the guise of a high ranking government official, one of those who know everything and whom no one dares contradict. He had a refined accent, impeccable manners, and an air of authority that would have made anyone look down. His mandate? A forged but convincing document certifying his position and his top secret task, overseeing the dismantling and sale of France's most famous monument. He arranged a meeting in one of the most luxurious hotels in Paris, the Crillon, to convey an impression of importance and secrecy. He didn't invite just anyone, but carefully selected the 5 most influential and ambitious scrap metal dealers in the city. Businessmen ready to smell a golden opportunity, but perhaps a little too naive to be seduced by a government official whispering about state secrets. Lustig, with a grave whispering expression, explained that the Eiffel Tower had become excessively expensive to maintain. After decades of exposure to the elements, the structure was dilapidated, a national disgrace. But that wasn't all. The government didn't have the funds for the renovations, and lo and behold, the monument was temporarily slated for demolition. They couldn't say it openly, lest they create panic and controversy among the Parisian people, so they had to act in complete secrecy. It was a state secret, he said, and anyone who learned of it beforehand would be in serious trouble. To make the story even more credible, Lustig produced some official documents, obviously fake but perfectly crafted, which attested to the urgency of the demolition and the sale of the iron. All this while maintaining an impeccable air, the Olympian calm of a true man of power accustomed to handling matters of such magnitude. And to close the circle of the scam, he brought along a government secretary, an accomplice, who discreetly received bribes from the merchants, ostensibly to speed up the process. A classic, right? Bureaucracy is slow, but with a little help. Among the invited merchants, one in particular fell for it: André Poisson. He was an ambitious man, eager to make the coup that would make him a legend. He saw the Eiffel Tower not as a historical monument, but as 7,300 tons of high quality iron, ready to be sold to the highest bidder. Lustig immediately sensed his greed and insecurity, and played on them. He made Poisson understand that he was the chosen one, the right man for a deal of this magnitude. The possibility of securing such a large deal and the prestige of being the man who would dismantle the Eiffel Tower were too tempting. Poisson, blinded by the prospect of astronomical profits and the desire for prestige, fell straight into the trap devised by Lustig. After some back and forth, feigning indecision and making the deal look like a concession, Lustig managed to extract a considerable sum from him, not only for the scrap iron of the Eiffel Tower, but also a substantial bribe to secure the exclusive deal and, obviously, for the silence of the high official. Lustig cashed the money, said goodbye to Poisson with the promise of future collaborations, and without wasting a second boarded the first train to Vienna, and he ran away. Poisson, incredulous and happy about his top secret deal, waited and waited and waited, but the Eiffel Tower was still there, intact. When he realized he had been scammed, the shame and humiliation were such that he didn't dare report the incident to the police for fear of being ridiculed by all of Paris. And Lustig? Well, Lustig was already enjoying life, far from the French coast. But here's the twist that makes Victor Lustig a true crime legend. A few months later, with the story still undisclosed, thanks to Poisson's silence, Lustig, with a boldness bordering on madness, returned to Paris. What was he thinking? He thought that if it worked once, why not try again? Well, yes, he tried to resell the Eiffel Tower a second time. Using the exact same scheme, he set out to find other scrap dealers. He approached a new target, another potential fool for his incredible scam. But as we know, luck doesn't last forever. This time, something went wrong. Perhaps the new trader was more cunning, perhaps he had learned something, or perhaps Lustig had simply pushed things too far. The second attempt was not only unsuccessful, but one of the new candidates became suspicious and decided to alert the authorities. The net tightened around him. Victor Lustig was finally unmasked. He managed to escape once again, but his name was now known to the police, and the Eiffel Tower was saved, for the second time, from a demolition that had only existed in his brilliant and twisted mind. The story of Victor Lustig and his double sale of the Eiffel Tower is an incredible tale of criminal ingenuity, certainly, but also a warning. He shows us how trust can be manipulated and how greed can blind even the most practical minds. Lustig used not force or violence, but his profound knowledge of human psychology. He sold smoke and literally an immovable piece of history. His story reminds us that sometimes reality far surpasses fiction and that behind every great monument there may be an even greater story of cunning and deception.